Hi, I'm David McLaughlin. I'm the creative writing tutor at the Harbour Arts Centre. When I'm not busy doing that, I'm usually busy doing this, the Friendship Book of Francis Gay. You may have bought one for your mum or your gran for a Christmas present. I still buy one for my mum, and my gran was the first person I ever bought one for. So to be writing it is just a complete delight for me. The Francis Gay Friendship Book has been in the go for a long, long time. In fact, since 1939, the year the Second World War broke out, in fact. And society has changed a little bit since then. So I thought I'd take the chance to maybe read some of the stories from then and then compare them with some from now. Like this one from March the 4th, 1940. The fact that MH has something like 800 work people, that he pays 4 figures in income tax, is indisputable. But it doesn't impress me. What did impress me, though, was that one day, quite recently, MH and I were walking up a busy street. We overtook a doddering old chap pushing a handcart with some bags of firewood. MH never stopped talking. He just nodded to the old fellow, stepped into the gutter, and then pushed steadily as we went along. When we reached the top of the gentle incline, he waved his hand to the astonished vendor and fell into step with me, still talking. As I say, this did impress me, for only a man with a great spirit would do a little thing with such style. From later the same month. Now, Francis Gay has no wish to boast, but he would like to say that he has tried to be respectable. It was therefore something of a shock the other afternoon when a very charming young lady, upon whom he had never before set eyes, stopped him in a busy thoroughfare and said sweetly, "Would you like to take me home?" After appraising her for a moment, I said very gallantly that it would be an unspeakable pleasure. "Our house," said the young lady frankly, "has just been painted green. The next door house is brown. Josephine lives there. Her daddy's a joiner. I haven't got a daddy now, but I have a mummy, and she does a lot of sewing, and I came out to buy her some cotton to make her happy. I buyed it with a penny a lady gave me for saying a poem. And then, what do you think I did? I lost my way, so I waited till you comed along, and you looked so nice I asked you if you'd like to take me home. You are liking it, aren't you?" I assured this rather forward young lady that I was. So by way of reward, she said I could carry her for a little bit, if I liked, because she was tired. Now, isn't that a lovely way of describing a family whose dad had probably died in the war and whose mum was stitching every daylight hour just to help make ends meet? Harder times, eh? Phyllis May lies on her back all day. She cannot dance or go to the theatre or the cinema. She cannot walk in the garden in these magic days. She cannot bustle about the house doing 50 things in half as many minutes. When I called to see her, she gave me a bright smile and chatted away about the lovely day, the flowers in her room, and the books she had been reading. "You know," she said cheerily, "my only trouble is the days just aren't long enough. I can't get half done what I want to. And I've been knitting for refugee children, look. And then, of course, I have to keep my scrapbook up to date for the boys and girls in the hospital that I've taken under my wing. You know, the hospital I was in for a long time before they let me come home. And of course, I like to cheer folk up. You know, usually 2 or 3 letters a day. It costs a little fortune in stamps, but I feel I can't neglect them." "To be sure," murmured Francis Gay, a little bewildered. "But tell me, what do you ever do for yourself?" How she laughed, groping under her pillow for her handkerchief so she could wipe her eyes. "Oh, dear, dear," said she, How stupid men are. That's the secret of all my happiness. I just don't bother about Phyllis May. Invalids, or shut-ins of whatever kind, feature quite prominently in a lot of the Francis Gay stories because, of course, this was life before the NHS. Now, in the more up-to-date version, written by me, January 24th, 2019. She came into some unexpected money and assured me she would pay me back at last. But then she wanted to make a confession. I conned you that time, she said. I didn't need the money. I just made up an excuse to see if you would give it to me. I knew that, I confessed to her. But I also knew you needed someone in your life who trusted you. What? I felt so bad about that for so long. In fact, I felt so bad I gave up conning people so I wouldn't have to feel that way again. Then you've paid me back already, I said. And she became a very dear friend. This story actually refers to a book written by the original Francis Gay. I like the fact that I turned it into a Francis Gay story. I read a book by a man who toured Yorkshire on foot, and bus, and horse-drawn cart. In it he recounted the kindnesses of the people he met. Inside the volume, perhaps as a bookmark, was a bus ticket from one of the routes the author had taken, dated 10 years later, and still half a century ago. Did that reader, I wondered, meet similarly inspirational characters along the way? Or did he look around and think people must have been nicer back then? Time wouldn't have made a difference, or the bus route. What I guess might have made a difference was the kind of people the author and the reader expect to meet on their different but similar travels. Expect to be delighted, says I, and your journeys will be much more interesting. And the last one also involves journeys, and I was the man charged with looking after this little girl, and I failed miserably. Saturday, February 16th. There were journeys beginning, moving on to the next leg, or ending in the main concourse of that airport. Everyone seemed very busy, very focused. Then there was a squeal, and a 3-year-old ran right into the midst of it all. Her granddad, me, panicked, thinking she might fall over a suitcase or that someone might trip over her. People certainly wouldn't be happy. But everyone stopped in their tracks, letting her pass, and everyone smiled when she reached her grandmother, who'd been away for a fortnight. There were a lot of important journeys taking place there at that time, but everyone seemed to agree that there aren't many journeys more important than the one that takes a little girl to her grandmother. Different times, but hopefully I'm carrying on the tradition, and who knows, maybe I'll be back another time to share some more stories with you. Until then, stay safe, be loved.